Hey guys, this is another episode of 5 Minute Murder. Getting ready to pick another card so we can do another 5 minutes of murder. We'll talk about that killer and go from there. Yeah, sometimes 5 minutes. Now that we're on no timer, sometimes it's 5 minutes, sometimes more. Hard to say. But depending on the killer that we get, and I guess how much I know about them, we'll see. What's up? So I'm going to pick somebody real quick. Oh boy. We've got the Butcher of Rostov, Andrei Chikatilo. So it says on here, Andrei Chikatilo was born October 16th, 1936, and he died on Valentine's Day, February 14th, 1994. He was a Soviet serial killer who sexually assaulted, murdered, and mutilated at least 52 women and children between 1978 and 1990. Chikatilo confessed to 56 murders, 53 for which he was tried in April of 1992. He was convicted and sentenced to death for 52 murders in October of 92, although the Supreme Court of Russia ruled in 93 that insufficient evidence existed to prove his guilt in 9 of those killings. Chikatilo was executed in February of 94. So, 56 plus victims. He confessed to the 56, and he is a really, really interesting case. Now, if you guys want to dig deeper into Andrei Chikatilo and all of the crazy things, we're going to do a little brief overview here. But if you go over and check out my show on the Good Wives Network, the very first episode is on Andrei Chikatilo, and we do a deep dive and also do an interview with Nico Claux, the vampire of Paris, and he talks about Andrei Chikatilo a little bit. So if you get a chance, check that out. It's on the Good Wives Network. I'll put a link so you guys can find it, and yeah, check out that show if you want to deep dive into Chikatilo. But Chikatilo is a crazy story. He was a guy who had some serious sexual deviancy problems. Chikatilo ended up having children at some point somehow, but he could not get erect without wrestling with his victims, right? And he would also end up premature ejaculating when he was doing that. So it's a really strange case because he is not, he did a lot of his killings for sexual reasons, but like he didn't really rape anybody. Like you often hear about that it's motivated by sex and rape and things like that. And Chikatilo was, but he never got to the place of penetrative sex with virtually anyone his entire life. They would make fun of him when he was in school because he would, try to get with a girl, and the girl would inevitably find out that he could not get erect. So they made fun of him a bunch, and of course throughout his life he goes through these things, and he's very interesting because he's one of the few killers that changes his MO, right? He starts out by killing women and then eventually starts abducting and killing children. So it's just very interesting that his MO changes about 2/3 of the way through. He used to go to bus stations, and he would pick up people at bus stations, take them off into the woods, and do what he did to them. It is one of those things. And, Chikatilo was a school teacher. So he was perfectly positioned to do those types of things. He got in trouble several times for touching the students and things. And, of course, he goes through 30 years where he doesn't get caught. These children and these women are disappearing. Nobody suspects him. He moves around a bunch, but he's a fascinating case because he just is that kind of creepy old guy. And then later on, what we find out is, the movie character Hannibal Lecter, part of his character is formed after Chikatilo. Some of especially the mask, right, that he wore, the courtroom scene, or not really the courtroom scene, but when they put Lecter in the box. They also did that to Chikatilo. Because he would, harass different witnesses. He would spit on them. He would touch himself in the courtroom. Just a really, really messed up individual. So, that mask and stuff was actually originally worn by Chikatilo in the courtroom. So it's just a fascinating case of someone that we don't know a lot about here in the United States. Because we don't talk about him a whole bunch. But he was also known as the Rostov Ripper. He terrorized Russia. And of course, Russia for a long time said that there were no Russian serial killers, that in their community, because the communist community did not want to look like they had the same problems that we have over here. But there are plenty of them. You have Chikatilo, you have I can't think of his name now, the chessboard killer, Pichushkin. Then there's 5 or 6 more prominent ones, and Nico has a book out on Russian serial killers. So there is a huge market for that. You can check that out at serialpleasures.com, and he has all of his stuff on there. You can check it out. He just released a book on Japanese serial killers. And he's got a whole line of stuff, really, really fascinating stuff. So check that out. Check out our deep dive into Andrei Chikatilo if this has piqued your interest on the Good Wives Network. I'll put a link to both of those, the Good Wives Network and Serial Pleasures, down in below. And make sure you like, subscribe, so you know when all these episodes come out. Sorry I'm a day late again. But it's difficult to get in my studio sometimes, especially since my leg is all jacked up. But thank you guys for joining us for another episode of 5 Minute Murder. We will see you again next week, where I will be going to Knoxville, Tennessee for CreepyCon. Super excited about that. All right, talk to you all soon.
Without me, I said